This is the new Honda Civic Type R, and in this video I'm going to talk you around the design. I'm going to see how fast it can go, I'm going to test it on track, and I'm also going to find out just how easy it is to live with every day as a road car.
The new Type R is lower, wider and longer than the old one. It's also 38% stiffer, while the centre of gravity is 10mm lower to the ground. And all this helps the handling. Then there's the wild looks.
The extra bits fitted to the Type R aren't just for show, they do actually serve a purpose. So the scoop in the bonnet feeds air into the turbocharged engine and helps cool it. You've got a big intake there for the intercooler, and if you look underneath the car, you will see that it's pretty flat, and that helps smooth the airflow. Now at the front, you'll see there's some intakes there, and the air goes in there and it acts as an air curtain over the wheel, smooths the airflow once again, and exits out of these vents here. You've got this side skirt which kicks up, little winglet down there. Now these are interesting. These little things here, they're called vortex generators, and what they do is swirl the air to make sure it goes over this huge wing, and that does actually provide some form of downforce at high speed for a bit more stability. But what do you think about the look of this car? Do you think it looks good, or do you think it's a little bit too boy racery? You click up there to vote to give me your verdict.
Honda says the Type R is the only car of its type which produces negative lift at high speed, just like a race car does. And inside, it's pretty racy too.
I love the seats in the old Civic Type R, but these ones are slightly better. They're pretty similar, however they have a bit more side bolstering and they're a touch lighter. Also, they're mounted about 50mm lower in the car, so you just feel more hunkered down. In fact, the driving position in this car is so low that it makes that in a Ford Focus RS seem more like a Ford Transit van.
But what about the engine? This is a Type R after all, and so you'll want to know what it's packing under the bonnet. Time for the nerdy bit of the review.
It has the same 2-litre 4-cylinder engine as the old Type R, and it uses a monoscroll turbocharger to deliver 1.48 76972 bars of boost pressure. Oi, listen up, this bit's important. Now it has VTEC variable lift on the exhaust camshaft, and that helps reduce turbo lag, but unlike a naturally aspirated Type R engine, it doesn't have VTEC variable lift on the inlet camshaft, so you don't get that VTEC kick, yo.
This engine delivers 320 horsepower, which is 10 horses more than the old Type R, though torque is the same, 400 Newton meters. But what about the times?
So 0 to 60 is supposed to take 5.7 seconds, but let's see, shall we? So I've got my timing gear here. Let's get into first. I'm just going to sidestep the clutch, see what happens. Come on! Got a reading. Yeah. Right. 6.2 seconds. Okay, I'm going to try again. This time I'm going to turn the stability control all the way off. Takes 5 seconds to disengage. We're good. Right, let's try again. Maybe a bit better. Come on, Type R. Got it down by 0.1 of a second. Here we go, 6.1 seconds. Right, and I'm going to give it one last go. Third time lucky, let's see. That wasn't great. That was a good change though there, bit of wheel cheer up there. Ooh! I'm going to keep on going so I can get a standing quarter as well. That'll be the standing quarter as well. So, what? No! That was rubbish! That was rubbish! I did it in 6.7 seconds. 6.7 seconds, that's crap.
In case you're wondering, the best standing quarter time I did in the car was 14.6 seconds. Interestingly, I recently did a similar test in the new Volkswagen Golf R, and it did 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 4.2 seconds. But then the Golf does have all-wheel drive and an automatic gearbox with launch control. But who launches their car in real life? And anyway, this Honda does have a higher top speed than the Golf.
This car maxes out at 169 miles an hour, which is a lot of miles an hour. And I want to vouch that speed because I'm on a piece of de-restricted autobahn. I've got some data logging equipment up there. Only problem is, this car has just chucked up an engine warning light, which is really, really unusual for a Honda. So that's the end of that plan. And it could have something to do with the fact that this is a pre-production model, but most unusual. Damn! damn, how often do you get this opportunity? And then this happens.
Honda actually managed to fix the fault in 15 minutes, but my window for high-speed testing was over. Still, all you need to know is that this new Type R has lapped the Nürburgring in just 7 minutes 43.8 seconds, which is a world record for a front-wheel drive production car. But does this mean it's an unruly beast on the road?
Now, part of the problem with putting a lot of power through the front wheels only is that when you accelerate, it feels a little bit like someone trying to wrestle the steering wheel from your hands. And it's kind of like trying to hold onto a scalded cat. If you just let go, thank you very much. Honda's engineers have tried to get around that by fitting this car with some clever suspension geometry. Now, I don't really know exactly how it works, but apparently it does work. And to find out just how effective it is, I'm going to put the car in second gear. I'm going to accelerate now, let go of the steering wheel, and hopefully the steering wheel will remain straight. And look at that, it did. Had to change up then, but wow! In some other high-performance front-wheel drive cars, the steering wheel would have turned slightly and probably catapulted me off the road and into a tree.
The Type R also has some other cool features to help you enjoy it to the max. Here's 5.
The car has a helical limited slip differential, and that sends the engine's torque to the wheel with the most grip to help put the power down when you're exiting a corner. This new Type R has a light and single mass flywheel to help the engine rev more freely. Also, it has a rev match function which automatically blips the throttle on downshifts, just like this. There you go, so you can drive like a pro, even if you don't know how to heel and toe. Unlike the old Civic, this new one has fully independent rear suspension, and that improves stability and comfort. Speaking of which, you get 3-way adjustable dampers as standard. There's massive 350mm Brembo brakes up front for maximum stopping power. Also, when you go around a corner, the car automatically applies a little bit of brake pressure to the inside wheels to help you turn faster. This 3-pipe exhaust system may look a little bit silly, but it's actually the reason for the 10 horsepower gain over the old Type R, and that's because it's freer flowing. Also, that central pipe actually adds to the bassy note of the exhaust at low RPM, whereas at high RPM it actually sucks in air to help reduce the noise being too boomy. By the way, where did all this water suddenly come from?
Civic Type Rs have always been front-wheel drive, and Honda has stuck to this formula for the latest car, but not just for nostalgic reasons.
One of the benefits of being front-wheel drive only is that it helps keep the weight down. Actually, this car is a whole person lighter than a Volkswagen Golf R and 2 people lighter than a Ford Focus RS, and by being lighter, it means you can brake later.
In fact, let's find out what distance the car stops in from 70 miles an hour. According to the highway code, it should take 75 metres. But what's the reality?
Right, let's see. For braking. (45.2 metres). So, a little bit better than the highway code suggests.
Keeping weight down also improves agility. So on track, does the Type R feel wanting for being front-wheel drive only?
Absolutely not. This thing just claws its way out of corners, and in that way it really is like a scalded cat. Oh my gosh, I tell you, when it's dry, yeah, you don't need four-wheel drive, you don't need it at all. In the wet, might be a different story, but today, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with this Type R.
I'm also perfectly fine this car is turbocharged rather than naturally aspirated, as it still feels suitably Type R-y.
This engine really does like to rev. You know, it's quite unusual for a turbocharged car. And the gear shift, I mean, that is just sweet as. And if you want it, you can turn off the rev matching if you want to heel and toe yourself and pretend that you're a racing driver. And the steering, yeah, that's super sharp and really fast, got loads of feel to it. And of course, this car just corners so flat when you've got that suspension in the plus R setting. It's so much fun, actually. This is a great track car, definitely.
However, there's more to being a good hot hatch than just trackability. Affordability and livability matter too. So, does the Type R have room for your friends or family?
Check.
Has it got a spacious boot?
Check.
And finally, is it affordable?
This Civic Type R costs from £31,000, so it's not exactly cheap. But then it is more powerful than a Porsche Cayman, and that's 10 grand more, so check-ish.
However, the old Type R ticked these boxes, and it was also great on track. Where it fell down though was being a little bit too uncomfy for use in town. So, how did this new one fare?
It's better. Oh my god, it is way better than before. With the suspension in its comfort mode, it's really not that much firmer than the normal Civic, which is amazing considering this Type R is running on 20-inch alloy wheels. In fact, I can illustrate it to you now with a bit of math science. So if you pass me that, look at this. I can drive along a cobbled road here in the centre of Dresden, sipping from a glass of water without spilling any. If I was in the old Type R, I would have been bounced out of the glass, all this water, it landed in my lap, and I'd look like I was incontinent rather than just my usual incompetent.
While this new Type R may be good in town, to really enjoy it, you need to head out to the open road. Also, when you start the car, it doesn't begin in comfort mode, it starts off in sport.
Here, you have a happy midpoint between the mania of Plus R and the more relaxed nature of comfort. And when you're in sports mode, it's the perfect setting for extracting maximum fun out of this car on a twisty road such as this, and I can tell you it really is good fun. And the adjustability as well, you really do notice a discernible difference, unlike in some other cars, when you go from comfort to sport to Plus R, in the weight of the steering, the speed of the throttle response, and the stiffness of the suspension. You know, I think Honda has built the most rounded Type R ever with this car.
There is one small problem though, and that's the sound from that new exhaust, which is, well, have a listen for yourself.
Do you know what? Maybe I should give this exhaust a chance. So here's a tunnel. Put the window down. Nah, still not feeling it. It's a shame, Honda.
And that brings us on to some other problems with the new Type R.
While an automatic parking brake is great on a standard Civic, on a Type R you want a handbrake so you can do blooming handbrake turns. When you shut the boot, the spoiler does this. Look, it wobbles like it's flimsy, and it sort of annoys me. This carbon fibre effect plastic trim doesn't look very carbon fibre at all. In fact, it's more snakeskin. Oh Honda, your infotainment system, it impresses me not. It's certainly not as high performance as the car. While some of the vents on this car do a job, others, such as these and these, don't. And they're ridiculous.
However, all these are just minor issues, as this new Civic Type R is a cracking hot hatch. And if you can get on with the looks, you'll love how it drives, both on the road and on the track.